Hi everyone, it's Jeff here from Avada. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at how to use the Avada button element. By the end of this video you'll understand how to create buttons in Avada, customize their design and behavior, and take advantage of the latest button features added in recent Avada releases. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe, and click the bell icon to stay up to date with all new Avada videos. Okay, let's jump in. The button element is one of the most commonly used elements in Avada, and it's incredibly versatile. Let's start by adding a button into the page on the Freelancer Prebuilt site here. I'll just add a button element at the bottom of this hero section. The button is inserted using the global defaults for the button element. In this case, it spans the full column width and uses the site's default button styling. Before we customize it, let's quickly look at where these defaults come from. On any styling option using a global default, you'll see a cog icon. Clicking this takes you directly to the button global options, found under Global Options, Avada Builder Elements, and Button. Here you can configure the default appearance and behavior for all buttons on your site. Setting your preferred global defaults here can save a huge amount of time later. Okay, let's head back to the element options and start customizing this button. The first option on the General tab is the button URL. This is where you define where the button links to when clicked. I can paste in a URL directly, or click the link icon to select internal or external links. Buttons also support dynamic content, allowing you to link things like permalinks, off-canvas panels, or other dynamic actions. In this case, I will just choose a link from the existing content and link to the Let's Talk page. If you wanted the button to open a modal instead, you would simply leave the URL field empty and use the modal window anchor option further down. Next is the button text option. Because this is a text field, I can edit it directly on the page if I want. I'll change this to Talk to Me. The text is currently uppercase because the text transform option on the Design tab is set to uppercase by default. Under this is the button hover or click text/icon option. This feature allows you to change the button text or icon on hover, or alternatively on click. If I enable this, two more options appear. The button mode option, where you decide what interaction will make the icon and text change, and the button hover/click text field. Here I will leave the mode on hover and add the text "I'm all ears." By enabling this, we'll also get the option to set a separate hover icon on the Design tab, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. The next option is the button title/aria label attribute. You can add a title here for accessibility and usability purposes. This appears on mouse over and can also assist screen readers. Below that is the button target option. Here you can choose whether the link opens in the same window, a new tab, or in a lightbox. The button target option won't apply if you use a modal link. Because this is an internal page link, I'll leave it opening in the same window. Next is the button additional attributes option, which allows you to add additional HTML attributes to the anchor tag. For example, you might add a rel attribute with a value of nofollow, or add custom data attributes for integrations or tracking. There is a newer and more flexible option at the very bottom of this tab which basically does the same thing, but this option was left in for backwards compatibility. Under that is the Enable ARIA Role button option. This is useful when the button performs an action instead of acting as a standard link, such as opening a modal or toggling an off-canvas panel. This is just a standard button, so I will leave that off. Next is the alignment option. This determines how the button aligns in the column, and you can allow the button to follow the text flow or align it to the left, center, or right. Right now, because the button spans the entire column, alignment won't make any difference, but I'll set it to center for later. Note how there is a responsive option set here as well, so you can set alignment differently for different screen sizes. The next option is the modal window anchor, and this is where you would add the class name of a modal window you wanted to open on button click. As noted in the option description, the corresponding modal element must be added to the same page. To find out more about modals, follow the links in the video description. Then of course is the usual element visibility option, which allows you to choose whether the element is displayed on various screen sizes, and the CSS class and CSS ID fields, which allow you to further customize the element with CSS. At the very bottom is an attributes option. This is a repeater field, which you can use to add custom HTML attributes to the element. I'm not going to use any of these in this example, so let's move to the Design tab. This is where all the visual styling happens. The first option is button style. By default, the button uses the globally configured colors, but if we switch this to custom, a full set of styling controls appear, with the default colors as the starting point. Let's customize this button to see the options. First up is the button gradient start and end colors. The default has the same colors in both, so there is no gradient. So let's add another color here in the end color option, as some options allow us to do more with gradients. I'll just set this to color 5 and add a luminosity shift of -30 in here. Then we have the hover colors, which are accessed from the circle icon here. These are currently white, but instead I think I will set both of these to color 8, and the hover text color to be color 1. Okay, now comes some gradient options. First up are the gradient start and end positions. These allow us to blend the gradient as we wish. Play around with these to see what effects you can get, but for this I'm happy with the defaults. Basically, with 0 as the start point and 100 as the end position, you get a smooth, even blend between the colors. Whereas having both start and end positions at 50, for example, gives you no blend at all. So as I said, play around. I'll just reset these to the defaults. Next is the gradient type. Default is chosen here, and that is clearly linear. If we have linear chosen, there is a gradient angle option underneath, and here we can control the angle of the gradient. By default, it's straight across at 180 degrees, but changing it just a bit, let's say to 170, changes the way the gradient looks considerably. We could also try a radial gradient. If we choose this, instead we get another option called radial direction, with which we can control where the gradient originates from. Here the default is center-center, but there are 8 other positions. I think I will leave it like this. Next we have the button text color. We've already changed the hover state to color 1, and the default here for the normal state is also color 1, so I'm happy with that. Next comes the button type option, where you can choose between flat and 3D styles. I'll leave this at the default, which is flat. Below this, if you have chosen custom, the next option you will find is button border size. Here you can add borders to the button independently on each side from 0 to 20 pixels. I will add a 2 pixel border all the way around. The next option is button border radius. With this option, you have full independent radius control of the button corners, and with this you can create buttons with varying degrees of rounded edges. This is usually a good one to set globally by clicking on the icon next to the option. This one has a 0 border radius, so the button is rectangular just like the others on this site. But in this case, I want to make a unique button style, so I'm going to give it 90 pixels top left and bottom right border radius. That's an interestingly shaped button, but we haven't finished yet. Under this option, if you have added a border, you will find the button border color option. The hover border color default is color 5, which looks great, and it's white on the normal state, but I don't think I want a border on the normal state, so here I will set the border color to color 1 and set -100 in the alpha channel to make it transparent. Then comes the button size. There are 5 options here. Custom is the default, but there are also presets of small, medium, large, and extra large. Choosing a preset size adjusts both the width and height of the button, as well as the font size, unless the button span option is set to yes, as it is in this case, and then it's just the height and font size that's affected. So before I make changes here, I'll just set button span to no. So now if we go through the preset sizes, you can see we can easily just pick a button size we like. But if we choose custom, we can completely control the size of the button and the styling of the button text. So in the next option, padding here, I'm going to add 20 pixels top and bottom padding to this button, and 150 pixels right and left padding. That gives us a much more dramatic call to action button. Note also there are responsive options here, so you can set different padding for different screen sizes. Next comes the typography options. I think the global defaults look okay here, but I might increase the font size a little to 20 pixels. Part of the typography option set is the text transform option I mentioned previously, and as you can see, you can set it to none, uppercase, lowercase, or capitalize. Here it's set to the default, which in this case is uppercase. The button span option comes next, which we have already used. Just note there is a responsive option set with this option as well, so you can set span at different breakpoints if you wish. Under the button span option, there's a margin option, which sets margins around the button as a whole, and this also has responsive options. I don't think I need any here. The next option is the icon option. I'll just search for email, as this button links to a form, and I think I will choose this one. And if I want, I can set a different icon for the hover state of the button. I will search again for email, and this time I'll choose a different icon. Below this are two more icon options, the icon position, which can be left or right, and an option for an icon divider. I think I will leave this to the left with no divider. Okay, the last option on the Design tab is called Hover Transition. See the How to Use Button Hover Transitions in Avada video for full details on this option. Just note that if you set an icon divider, the icon switch position transition won't work, which is the transition I want to use here. There is also an Extras tab with animation options in the button element as well. Let's set this to slide from the bottom at a speed of 1 second. To see more about element animation, please refer to the How to Use Avada Element Animation Options video. Okay, that's my button done. Let's just save this, and then I'll use the Shift-P shortcut to clear all dialogues and controls, and here we can see my custom button. We can see the nice gradient colors, and when I mouse over the button, the colors change and the hover transition kicks in with the new text and icon. Very striking. To use this button elsewhere on the site, you could simply right-click on the completed button and choose Copy. You could then paste the copied button somewhere else. Okay, that's the awesome button element. And that's it for this video. If you found it helpful, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Avada tutorials and deep dives. And if you have any questions or need help, feel free to create a support ticket. Our team is always ready to help. As always, thank you for choosing Avada.